So the third way to boost your writing productivity is, there's a couple different ways or styles of working, but it's basically just how much time you put in. You basically need to develop a rhythm or a habit. You can do it by just trying to write every day. If you can either schedule, 30 minutes, an hour every day at the same time as part of your habit that you get into, because you need to kind of habitualize your writing so that you can just get into it really easily. But you can also just do it whenever you find time, when you can squeeze in 5 or 10 minutes a day. Just make it a priority to get something done, and then check off the day on the calendar so that you have kind of a row of X's, and then you just don't break the chain. You just keep writing a little bit every day, try not to break the chain, and eventually, not only are you developing a writing habit that makes it easier to get more writing done in a smaller amount of time, but also you cumulatively will build up enough content to publish in a book. If you can write 2,000 words a day, in a few months you'll have enough content to publish a book. Another one is accountability and a hard deadline. A lot of authors are afraid of this, especially with your first book. I'll put my books out on pre-order knowing I need to finish a book. And I work that way with deadlines because I procrastinate, but I think a lot of authors probably are procrastinators. So I won't, if I give myself a year to finish a book, I won't do anything until the month before, and then it's a deadline that I'll work. So the solution is just to set up a lot of mini deadlines where you're getting something done. So even if it's something smaller, like I want to publish a book in 3 months, I need to write 20,000 words or 30,000 words in a month. Break it into smaller chunks and measure it, and just keep up your progress. Stop answering your emails is the next one. Quit the internet and social media. Basically, you have to make choices. If writing is your thing that you want to do, if finishing your book is the thing that you really want to do, you need to get rid of the smaller, inconsequential stuff that takes up time, that doesn't really produce anything. So when you're answering emails, you're commenting on social media, you can spend very little time on social media for your book marketing. So there's not really an excuse to say, I don't like to be on social media, or I don't like to be online because I'm taking away from my writing time. You can spend an hour a week, and it's plenty to build the relationships or do your book marketing online. But you don't want to. The danger with social media and checking the internet is that you distract yourself with small tasks. So you check things, you get distracted. Someone might send you an email that you think about. All those little things are always distracting you from your main goal, which is finishing the book. So you want less of that. But also, we're kind of addicted to social media. And so when you, for example, I can't stand to wait in lines. I can't stand to wait for buses in restaurants. So I'll either just leave, or if I have to be there, I'll pull out my phone and just scroll, because I can't handle the boredom of just doing nothing. But that trains your brain to always be seeking entertainment, and that's bad if you want to sit down and concentrate on finishing a book. So you need to break that habit by allowing yourself to be bored, and not checking in online so often. 7 is have a marketing plan. I said earlier that authors sometimes say they don't do any marketing, or they hate the fact that they have to do marketing because it takes away from their writing time. Actually, what's happening is they're distracted in their writing process because they're worried about the reception of the book. So they think, oh no, I'm not building my website, I'm not building my email list, I don't get any traffic, I should be doing something to market my book instead of just writing it. It's fear over the reception of the book that makes you think that marketing your book is something that takes up a lot of time. Actually, it's just a worry about what you should be doing that's eating away your writing time. Marketing shouldn't take up much of your writing time. You should build an author platform the right way, do a little bit of marketing, or pay for promotions sometimes, but really you shouldn't be spending time every day marketing your books. You should spend maybe an hour or 2 a week. Most of the time you should be writing. So you can only do that, of course, if you know how to market your books, but that's something that you can learn. Number 8 is outsource, which is also tricky because I just interviewed someone who's an author assistant, and I wrote another really long post about why I won't market your books for you. And the basic point of all that was that it's great to hire an assistant to do marketing for you, but if you don't know how to market your books, an assistant isn't going to either. And if you just hire someone and tell them what to do, it may not be stuff that's very productive anyway. And you can probably find an author assistant and pay them something like $10 an hour is reasonable. So if you pay them $100 a week, $400 a month, and you get 40 hours of work with them, they can do a lot of stuff for you. Eventually they could do everything for you and you could just focus on your writing, but you'd have to train them first, and that's kind of a problem. And people who really know what they're doing won't be going for $10 an hour. So you can't hire people who really know what they're doing to do stuff for you, but you can watch courses or learn things about how to do what you need to do to market your books, and then a lot of that stuff can be outsourced to somebody else as long as you have a clear plan. Number 9 is you need to learn to relax or take a walk. And it's interesting, I learned from this book that it doesn't count if you walk around in a city because you're distracted and you have to watch where you're going. So it really only counts when you're walking in nature aimlessly because you're not worried about where you're going and you really free up your mind to actually be thinking about the things. And the other interesting thing about your subconscious mind is that when you're writing a book, you'll get stuck a lot. And you'll worry about what comes next, what's the next step, what do I have to do. You can't really deliberate and focus and try to solve those problems while you're at your computer. A lot of those breakthroughs are going to happen when you take a break and go for a walk, or do something else, take a shower, wash the dishes, something that frees up your subconscious mind to kind of focus on that problem. That's when you're going to get those breakthroughs, so that when you go back to your writing, you'll have the next step planned out. So you need to schedule in a lot of breaks where you focus on one scene, developing one scene, and then what's wrong with the scene, what has to happen, what happens next, finding the thing that you have to solve, and then giving your brain space to work on it. And finally, the thing that I like the most is called the grand gesture. J.K. Rowling did this when she checked into a hotel because she couldn't concentrate on her 7th book. So she checked into the 5-star Balmoral Hotel, and she was paying like $1,000 a day to stay in this nice suite. But she had concentration, she had, the freedom of distraction, also the habit setting, because she only went there one day, but it worked so well that she started going every day. And committing to a grand gesture, like spending $1,000 a day on something you totally don't need to do, can help you to focus on doing the work, because you know that you're spending the money, you know that you're there for a reason, and it can help you to actually get more stuff done, which is why I'm really excited about the grand gesture mode of productivity. And I just put a post of my top 110 Airbnb rentals, because starting next year, my wife and I are basically going to be not exactly traveling, but migrating around the world, staying at really nice, but what's the word? Reclusive almost, places that aren't really in the city, places that are cabins or castles or kind of out in the middle of nowhere, really nice, beautiful, amazing, inspiring surroundings, but no distraction because they're out in nature. So I'm kind of taking all of these tips and building my own productivity lifestyle so that I can focus on writing full-time. And a big part of that will be grand gestures. So instead of once a year doing one grand gesture, my whole life is going to turn into a grand gesture where I just go from nice place to nice place and write books full-time, which is pretty exciting. I'll be posting a lot more about that adventure in future videos once we start.